My dear Eva, thanks for your letter. I can quite imagine you are having a worrying time living where you are, and I suppose you ought to move away somewhere more peaceful. But I guess it is difficult to know where to go. I was in France entertaining the troops when the Germans invaded Belgium and came in for 2 air raids before we were evacuated back into a safe area. One hotel we were in was blown sky high a day or 2 after we left it, but it was very interesting all the same. I believe Harold has got a job of some kind. I sent him £2 to buy himself a bicycle for the job. I hope he will get along all right in it, as it will relieve me of the responsibility of helping him. No, I am not working. The papers never get anything right. I have a chance of starting in August, but goodness knows where we shall all be by then. I have joined the volunteers and am section commander for this area. It will give me something to do while I'm not working. I passed very near to Athol Cemetery when I was in France, but I didn't get a chance to visit it this time. Now it is in the German-occupied territory. Well, I hope things brighten up a bit soon. Goodness knows our lifetime hasn't been very peaceful, has it? Let me know if you decide to move. Hope you're keeping well. Love, Will.
So, who was Athol Hay? Athol Hay was born on the 7th of September 1897 in Hemel Hempstead, the younger brother of Will Hay by 10 years, and the youngest son of Elizabeth and William Robert Hay. Athol, along with his 2 brothers and 3 sisters, moved to number 16 Park Avenue, Higher Broughton. Athol first attended Holton Bank School, where he won one of the first foundation scholarships to Manchester Grammar. Athol was thought of highly and considered a high achiever, a talented musician, and a bright young scholar. This is how the school remembered Athol in 1916. Athol J. Hay was one of Mr. Hyam's boys at Holton Bank. He won a foundation scholarship and was on the modern side. He was one of our first scouts when the improvement started at MGS, and he threw his whole soul into it. No one showed more resourcefulness on track. No one was a cheerier comrade. He had the Highlanders' elan as he had the Highlanders' springy step. On leaving, he was first in the office of Messrs. Ward and Goldstone, an electrical firm. Thence he got a post as assistant in the science laboratories at Rossall. He was in the big fire and barely escaped with his life. Before the end of August 1914, he had enlisted, though just 17 years of age, in the 7th King's Own Royal Lancasters. He went out in July 1915, getting his first stripe. He was as regular in his regiment as he had been at school, and as good at getting up to fun of all sorts. Being especially gifted in music, he took a prominent part and played more than one instrument as occasion required. By now, Will had turned his back on engineering and took to the stage. He was a popular act and his career was flourishing. Will Hay was in high demand the length and breadth of the UK. In 1915, Will decided to enlist for military service. However, on 2 occasions he was turned down by the examining doctor, who cited hemorrhoids as the reason for rejection. Athol did not encounter such problems. Athol presented himself at the recruitment centre, adding an extra 3 years to his 16 years. "It'll be over in a year," Athol told his father, whose business had been hit hard by the loss of German steel contracts. "The other teachers are going and I want to be with them," he told his family. In 1916, Athol was one of the youngest soldiers sent to France. The day before he embarked, he gave his King's Own badge to his sister-in-law and said, "Always remember me." Eva asked if he would get in trouble for removing his badge. Athol said, "I want you to keep it and look after Dad." His final parting words were, "If I lose a limb, I'm not coming back." On Saturday the 17th of July, Athol boarded a ship at Dover and left for Boulogne to join other members of his battalion, and by August were reinforced with troops from the Lahore. By September, they combined forces with the 56th Infantry Brigade of the 19th Division for the Battle of Loos. On the 1st of July 1915, Britain and Germany were to undertake one of the most bloody battles of the 20th century. By now, Athol was in the thick of the action, on the front line looking out towards the German trenches in preparation for the attack on La Boiselle.
La Boisselle was a small village located at the very centre of the positions attacked by the British Army in the baking heat of the 1st of July 1916. Within a mile of the village, the casualties were very heavy among the 34th and 8th Divisions. Some 10,000 men were killed or wounded that day, whilst the German army suffered relatively light losses. Over the next 5 days, the village was the scene of immensely vicious and hard fighting, involving men of the 19th Division within which Athol served. His division had been in reserve on the 1st of July. By the 4th, the dry, cloudless skies of early July gave way to heavy rain, and the trenches filled with putrid water. The 19th Division's men, moving forwards, crossed trenches still littered with the detritus and death from the ghastly events of the 1st of July. The fighting for La Boisselle now intensified. The men were soaked. Their equipment was plastered with mud. A deluge lasted all afternoon. In this scene, Athol's battalion found themselves in a nightmare of hand-to-hand fighting as wrecked buildings, cellars, and shattered trenches were cleared inch by inch of the determined German defenders. His attack began at 8:30 a.m., and the infantrymen of Athol's 9th King's Own pressed through the wreckage of the village against a still determined defence. Supported by machine guns firing at long range, the men used grenades and the bayonet as their preferred weapons. No quarter was given, and the smell of death and high explosives hung oppressively in the air, amongst the flies already gathering across the Somme battlefield. La Boisselle was now a pulp of shattered earth, bricks, and devastation. After 6 hours of desperate struggle, the greater part of what had once been home to 200 farm workers and labourers was in British hands. This was the day that Athol was wounded. Sadly, Athol died at the casualty clearing facilities at Milt the following day. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and respect a minute's silence in memory of Athol Hay and all those soldiers and civilians killed as a result of war.
Did you leave a wife or a sweetheart behind? In some faithful heart is your memory enshrined. Although you died back in 1916, in that faithful heart are you forever 19? Or are you a stranger without even a name, enclosed and forever behind the glass frame, in an old photograph torn, battered and stained, and faded to yellow in the brown leather frame? Did he beat the drum slowly? Did he play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus? And did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? The sun, now it shines on the green fields of France. There's a warm summer breeze, it makes the red poppies dance. And look how the sun shines from under the clouds. There's no gas, no barbed wire, there's no gun firing now. But here in this graveyard, it's still no man's land. The countless white crosses stand mute in the sand. To man's blind indifference to his fellow man, to a whole generation that were butchered and damned. Did he beat the drum slowly? Did he play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? And did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Young Willie, my bride, I can't help wonder why. To those that lie here, know why did they die? And did they believe when they answered the call? Did they really believe that this war would end wars? Well, the sorrow, the suffering, the glory, the pain, the killing and dying were all done in vain. For young Willie McBride, it all happened again, and again and again and again and again. Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus? And did the pipes play the flowers of the forest?